Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the morning of Tuesday, August 1st, 2017. A beautiful day, beautiful morning at Hilton Head Island. It's just about 7:40 in the morning, and I'm on to my island bike tour. So I'm just about to leave the neighborhood right now. It's going to be an awesome day today. This is as fast as I'm gonna go because I have a very old clunky bike, and you could probably, don't know if the camera would pick it up, but it's clanging just a little bit. But if I run into any problems, I know I can always call the house. So here's what we're gonna do when we get to the board. I'm gonna show you exactly the path I'm gonna take for this bike tour. And hopefully we can see some amazing things along the way, just like we did in 2014. So let me ride safely now because I don't have a helmet on. Forgot to bring mine from New Jersey, and the one that my aunt has is way too small for my head. Let me tell you this interesting story about this morning. I've already had an eventful morning. So it had been such a long time since the last time that this bike was used, and it had been stored in the shed for many months, and obviously accumulating some tarnish, some grime. So when I took out the bike this morning, some of the gears jammed. Well, actually, even before that, the hand pump that my aunt has, the tube broke, and it looked like it had already been broken because it's not like I tried to break it, it just happened to break off. So was pretty much stuck wondering what to do, whether I should rent a bike, buy a new one, or something like that. And then my aunt woke up in time, and she had to use her car pump, for her tires, over onto this bike, and surprisingly, it actually worked. So now I have a few hours to work with, maybe before these tires go flat, because this bike doesn't have the cover anymore. Okay, so let me take a little brief of a break from telling the full story and show you exactly what the plan is for today. So this Sea Pines is actually pretty big. I'm only going to explore maybe this section. So we are here right now, and the plan is to pass, visit Harbour Town a little bit, go back, go to the Stoney-Baynard Ruins, go down, go to South Beach, come back all the way back where we came from, and maybe end right there. Maybe if there's any other places where I want to go to, perhaps pass by the Lawton Stables, I might do so. But I eventually want to get to here, to the Forest Preserve, definitely go to Coligny, and eventually maybe Palmetto. It would be a great place to really take more pictures that I didn't take in 2010 and 2014, now that I'm able to sort of carry out on my own. And so yeah, so that's it. So now let me get back on the bike here. So now after we get our tires filled, so after we got the tires filled, the gears jammed, because this is the part where I come in with the gears. They got stuck, so sometimes I could not be able to complete a full cycle. Oh, sorry. There's a lot of people who are biking out this morning, so I just got to be careful. We're making our way to Harbour Town, nevertheless. But anyway, I would never thought we could get this done, because I had to oil the gears well. and I don't even know if it's guaranteed to work. So I don't know, yeah, I don't know if it's guaranteed to work entirely. So far this is holding up very well. I might have to oil it a couple times throughout the trip. The last thing I want is to really spend on money and rent a bike when I know I have one and I know I can fix one. So going on a bike ride is more convenient ways of getting around Hilton Head Island. Features so many bike paths for a leisure ride. And I just hope this one survives me this entire leg, and when I get home I have to see what I can do to fix the rest. This place is beautiful to explore in the morning, especially when there's not many people out. The pier that we did the crabbing got washed out, I believe, during Hurricane Matthew last year. So now they're been doing construction on that. I was able to pass by that pier that is being rebuilt yesterday when I came here in the evening, but it's so interesting to see how in the morning, when everything is closed so far, how all the shops, everything out here is pretty quiet. But that's also a good well, actually, before I even say that, the only people that are here are maintenance people. So all I can do is just walk around. This is the perfect opportunity to take any pictures. Harbour Town is one of my favorite places to go. There's just a lot of great stuff that is being offered out here, including this really wonderful panoramic view of the bay and the harbor itself. Very beautiful and exquisite architecture with some of these places. I'm glad that I have the opportunity to once again come down here. So you can see all the different boats that are out there in the harbor. If we make our way here, there's burgers and Harborside Burgers and Views. Maybe haven't tried that place yet. But this oak tree is very famous. It's one of the landmarks of Hilton Head Island. And every summer, there's this man, a local named Greg Russell, who performs here for the tourists, kids and their parents. A lot of people like to gather around this tree and see him perform. You know, and then there's also, you see, just, you know, space to congregate and stuff. The Liberty Oak Tree, this is called. Saturdays are always local entertainment, apparently. I'm just looking at this sign for the first time. Greg Russell, 8 o'clock to 9:30. You can perform out here on Christmas time too, because it never gets that cold down here. But anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying the views so far, the footage of Harbour Town while I go on my little bike tour. Up there ahead you see is the lighthouse. You can actually go up that lighthouse and take a look at the view of part of the island. Maybe later today. I gotta check what time it opens. But it offers a great view that I think is definitely worth the price to pay. I did that one in 2010, and the views of Harbour Town and part of the island are absolutely breathtaking. As we make our way this way, you can see more of the apartments up ahead, or villas. Ooh, here's one I haven't seen here, Charles Fraser. Looking at the plaque ahead, began his 8 square mile Sea Pines plantation community in 1957. The Sea Pines Company. This is why, I guess, now I know this is why Fraser Circle is called Fraser Circle. He died in 2002. Coming down to this area of Harbour Town is probably one of the most spectacular sights, because off in the distance, every evening is where the sun sets. So people will often come here to this spot, and maybe even part of that pier. By the way, you can see the construction equipment there. Part of the pier is open, but it's limited. You can only go so far while construction is happening. But you come down here to this area, pardon me, and you can not only enjoy a sunset, but it's a nice cool breeze at this point. So this is towards the back, there's the lighthouse there. Some, like right here on the tip of Harbour Town. Okay, so this road that I'm riding parallel to is Plantation Drive, and I think this is the path over to the Stoney-Baynard Ruins. I just hope this is not where my bike will fail. Stoney-Baynard Ruins is an interesting place because, you know, I used to watch ghost shows as a kid, and I've always been fascinated about seeing an actual ghost and having a ghost interact with me. I know I gotta be careful with what I wish for, but it just seems so fascinating. Now, I'm trying to be as discreet as possible because there's a lot of people who probably think writing and filming and talking into a camera is very weird. So that's why I kind of cut myself talking until after I pass by. You just got to be careful with where you go. Make sure that you don't lose your footing. But anyway, there's the ruins of the old plantation, and one of the legends of that place is that you can see his ghost on at night, on cold, overcast, rainy, gloomy nights. But I'll elaborate more of that when we get there. So the Stoney-Baynard Ruins. Okay, so I'm just gonna skim through it a little bit. Center of Braddock's Point Plantation, first half of the 18th century. Captain John Saucy Jack Stoney built the main house between 1793 and 1810. Plantation, remember back then, slaves were part of the norm down south. You can see when Union troops invaded Hilton Head, November 7th, 1861, fled inland Baynard, other plantation owners. The main house was destroyed by the fire after Civil War. Follow this trail to the main house, domestic slave quarters, plantation kitchen, and the military structure. There's also these tabby structures that I remembered seeing 3 years ago. Now, fortunately, I'm not the only one here, so that's good. So if I experience a ghost, I can just flee the scene. Once again, this area supposedly is haunted. We could meet Captain Baynard himself here. Domestic slave quarters. The Tabby Foundation here is all that remains of a small slave quarters before the Civil War. 2 families of slaves lived in this 336 square foot wooden dwelling built upon these footings that you see there. So there would be a chimney right there. There would be a tabby brick, and then pretty much 2 families who would be living in these small quarters. I can't imagine what they would look like today. What it would have been like, what it would have been like back then. I might try a little ghost hunting here. Who knows? Maybe will I experience seeing my first apparition? We're not near any electrical sources. I don't see any power lines here. And usually what I've read is that these ghosts would draw energy. They would use something electronic and they would suck the life out of the battery, even if you charged something very quickly. I mean, not something overnight, it would drain very quickly. Okay. So I believe this would be another one of those tabby houses. I'm glad it's not a rainy day. I mean, it's a clear and sunny day. But you always don't know when paranormal activity is going to happen. Mystery of the tabby blocks. For years, people could only guess about the function of the tabby blocks in this area. In the 1900s, archaeologists from the Chikora Foundation solved the mystery. The large block on the right was a pier supporting the chimney of the plantation kitchen. Here, domestic slaves prepared food for residents of the main house. Attached to the chimney, a small 14 by 18 foot building sat on the tabby block footings. The kitchen faced south toward the main house. This layout allowed the fireplace to draw prevailing winds. Locating the kitchen far from the home was commonplace in the 18th century. So this is the kitchen chimney right there. There supposedly is a military, if we follow the path, there's supposedly a military structure But I don't know if I'd want to continue down here. It doesn't seem very safe at all. Now, one of the rumors, or one of the legends I should say, about Stoney-Baynard himself is his funeral procession can be seen along the cemetery on a rainy night, a gloomy night, like I just mentioned earlier. Okay, I don't think anything is up this path. But that is kind of more on a residual haunting, meaning that it's sort of like a haunting that doesn't interact with you, but sort of like is a playback, like a record player type of haunting. It's like watching it's like watching history live instead of over the silver screen, pretty much. So we're going to check out the main structure right now. A part of history. So let's see where this path goes. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is all the structures here. Man, being here alone, I'm glad it's not night. This is risky right here. Oh. Now I'm going to remain, at this point, I'm going to remain silent. And what I'm going to do, is pan around and film the house. Call me crazy, but when you have the opportunity to go ghost hunting in some way, shape, or form, make it worthwhile, because you never know what kind of spectacle you could see. so maybe I was not able to see any ghosts, but it was certainly interesting to see and visualize, imagine what the structure, all these structures would have looked like in the heyday when it was in use. I'm glad to see that it's on the historic places, National Register of Historic Places, to know that people still care about the history and care about the preservation of, you know, frankly, something very amazing. I must warn you, if you do decide to go to that part of the woods, there are deer that are there looking for food. They might come close to you, but don't freak out. It might look scary at first to know that, because if you think, sometimes I think that I might get hurt. But if you don't bother them, they'll just run away. I think they're more afraid of humans than they are of, than we are afraid of them. So now I'm gonna make my way down south, go down, make a right turn and go down this way to a place called the South Beach. Now I don't know if things are gonna be open by then, but certainly it'll be worth to check out and take some more photos. I might come back later and maybe go shopping, go souvenir shopping, go back to these places once again. I think this bike is functioning, and I have full confidence that it's going to hold up for the rest of the trip as long as I don't change any of the gears. But there's nothing to worry about that because all of this is all flat, and it's not like I'm in any rush at all. To the right looks to be part of a golf course. So yeah, that's that. We're gonna head forward and head over to the South Beach, which is pretty much on the toes of Hilton Head Island. Because you know Hilton Head Island is shoe shaped. It's a boot shape. So you know the part of the shoe where the toes belong is where South Beach is. Okay, so let's give you an update of where we have gone so far. So we started around here, then we made our way past the Fraser Circle, all the way up to Harbour Town, where I spent maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes. And then we made our way back, went to the pathway paralleling Plantation Drive over to the Stoney-Baynard Ruins, spent a few minutes there with that too. We made our way down south, and we are right here. And so we're gonna take this path all the way to the South Beach Marina Village. And if time permitting, maybe, just maybe, I mean it's a bit of a far ride, but maybe to Coligny. If not, then I'll probably will do that tomorrow morning.